Hey, that's me. I'm on YouTube. Look at this proper etiquette. In the house, first thing that happens, off go those dirty, snowy boots. Ready for work. All right, welcome to this kitchen. We're going to be looking at this countertop right here. We'll give you some in-depth photos of what's going on there. It's really not in bad shape, but it's got the usual problems that you have when you've got wood near water. So the wood around the sink, a little bit more damaged, got a little bit wetter. We're going to try to fix that, clean it up, and apply some better caulk that hopefully won't show any of this mildew and mold that's quickly formed on this current caulk. There's also a couple patches where we've got some heat damage. The homeowner tried to do some little quick repair, didn't quite take, and we're going to just strip and refinish the whole top of this and make this beautiful. As you can see, it's been taped off, and the idea there is to make sure that no one was using it. There's been a fan running on it for over 24 hours, just making sure the sink area is dry, water to the sink is turned off, and that way we can really get in here and get to work. So we've got a beautiful hardwood butcher block counter, but there are some damage marks. You can see some black marks where something hot was put down on the counter, some whiter marks where there's going to be some water damage. So we're going to come in, going to scrape it all down, then we're going to sand it up through the grits, apply some Danish oil finish, and it'll be great. First place we've got to start those with the caulk. So if you look under here, we're going to zoom in a second, you'll see the caulk itself is starting to mold. Now, anytime you've got anything near water, it's likely you're going to see some, I should say, mildew growing on caulk. But what we've got is some more specialized caulk we're going to put in that has a 7-year warranty on it to make sure that there's no mildew growing. Now, they make lots of really cool tools for removing caulk, but in this application, under the countertop, we're going to go utility knife, flat razor blade, paint scraper with a razor blade on it, a putty knife, finally my new favorite, plastic edge scraper. Now, before you get into this project, you probably want to take some paper towels, put them down in the drains. You don't need any of this junk falling down, causing more problems. There we go, ready to keep all the stuff out of the drain. Now that doorbell ringing and those dogs barking was a little bit of foreshadowing. I didn't want to open the door since it's not my house, even though I wondered if it could have been a couple Girl Scouts selling some delicious cookies. It was not. So sometimes you plan everything out. You got your lights, you got your power, you got everything going great, and a company shows up to shut off power down the road and you are now without power for an hour. So at least we've got a lot of good daylight out here. I'm going to do some more manual scraping, but one of the interesting things with working on a job site is you never know what you're going to run into. So we use the razor blade to break the caulk seams. We use the putty knife and our other razor blade to sort of dislodge and pull out a lot of that caulk. There's always a thin layer of residue left, and this is where this plastic scraper really comes in and does a fantastic job. It's got a sharp edge, but not enough to damage anything, and you can really apply a lot of pressure and remove that last little bit of residue before we come back with some Goo Gone and wipe everything off. And then go over with your finger. If it feels pretty clean, there's just a tiny little bit of residue, that's where you want to be. All right, here comes some work. When you use a scraper, you've really got to apply a lot of pressure. I put 2 thumbs directly behind that scraper. I dig in and I start working. You'll constantly see me flip the scraper around, looking for other sharp edges, especially if I haven't burnished the edge in a while. And you'll even see me switch from one card scraper to another, as anytime you've got friction and metal, you tend to get heat. Burning my thumbs is not a lot of fun. So you'll see me go back and forth between a couple card scrapers before I switch to some other tools. What we're looking at here is a spot where the scraper's taken off the finish, and another spot where that hard wax oil is still there. The wide carbide scraper does a really good job of removing that sort of top coat. After scraping, I'm switching over to sanding with a random orbital sander. We'll hit it with 80, 120, and then finally 180 grit, or switching to 180 grit for hand sanding. Now we're into the corner. Normally at home I've got a spindle sander or some curved blocks, but I didn't bring any with me, so we improvise. Wrapping the handle of the putty knife with a little bit of 120 sandpaper, we've got a curved surface to really get into that corner and clean everything up. Best part of working in a friend's kitchen, you don't have to run out for coffee. Even at cream. Unique experience here. I don't think I've ever had to move a dishwasher door open so I could sand before, but fortunately the dust collector's hooked up, no mess. There's a few spots I'm unhappy with around the sink, and a couple spots I've marked with pencil like I do on my fine furniture when I'm unhappy with the final coat. So I'm going to come back and hand sand with 180, make sure everything looks beautiful. Here I'm getting just a little close to that sink, so we're going to tape that off. I don't want to leave any scratches on the pretty chrome, and then we'll get back to work. I'm going to do a full hand sanded coat at 180 to make sure it's beautiful. Now this will no doubt be the part of the video where my wife wants to leave me. Look, my t-shirt is already dirty. It's covered in dust, and it makes an absolutely wonderful rag for removing a ton of dust particles from the top of that surface. So do I do this every time? Yeah, almost every single time. And then I throw it in the laundry with the rest of our clothes. Sorry, it's just me. Now here's the most exciting part of the build, putting the caulk in. Can't think of anything more boring than installing caulk. Well, maybe watching me install it is more boring. It's a tedious process if you're not good at it, but the good thing is it's easy to clean up. So just give it your best shot. If you've never done it before, you can always wipe it, clean it all off, and start again. You'll see me using my patented Bourbon Moth glue spreader here. It's awesome, and you never leave it at home. Now, I can't beat MJ on the court, but look at that tongue action. Even the king of basketball has got to admit I've got it going on. Not only that, check out this fancy caulk spin move coming up. This is a 360 degree. Well, actually, that's wrong. This is a 180 degree barrel roll you're about to see. I don't expect you to try this at home. And finally, the only reason anyone does woodworking, to pour finish on it and see just how amazing it looks. Here we go. time for the second coat of Danish oil. I really like to puddle it on there, make sure everything's nice and wet. But you've got to make sure you wipe it off in the next 15 minutes or it becomes a gummy mess. You'll see me use two different types of shop towels. The first is just a simple paper towel, but I always finish with a lint-free towel on top, which will leave a perfect surface. I ball up all these wet, sloppy rags, throw them in the corner, and see if I can start a shop fire. And there you have it. Kitchen counter completely refinished, looking beautiful. Got a couple coats of Danish oil on there. That will harden over time. It'll look great, and it's really easy to touch up. These homeowners didn't want to have to do the wax oil thing where you have to keep putting it on. They wanted something that looked good, hold up well, and then it doesn't hold up well, we'll strip it all down and redo it again. Thanks for watching. Here's a few glamour shots of the areas that had the most damage. As you can see, it's completely refreshed. Countertop looks absolutely beautiful. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe. If you didn't like this video, please spend a couple hours in the comment section telling me all the things I did wrong. Thanks for watching.